Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Edge Delivery track. We're kicking things off here with Marcus Hack on how to build your first website with Edge Delivery Services and document based authoring. So I'll let you take it away, Marcus.
Thank you, Sherry, and welcome to this talk. Hello, everybody. My name is Marcus Haag. I'm a senior software engineer within Adobe since 12 years now, and I'm working for the science team. And the last 1.5, almost 2 years, I've worked on Edge Delivery Services and Edge Delivery Service project. And in this talk today, I will guide you to a hands-on demo uh, on building our first website of Edge Delivery Services. This is following sort of along the tutorial, and I saw in the previous session by Amon and Devin, the tutorial was a hot topic and came up quite a lot. So I will guide you through this process step by step, one by the other. So let's quickly recap what we have seen before. So you have seen the slide before in the talk by Amol and Devin. And in this session now, we will focus on the third box here. So we have the three main pillars of Edge Delivery Services and document-based authoring. The high impact on experiences. We heard a lot about this in the keynote already and by previous talk, the content velocity. And now let's look deeper into the development and what's actually in here for you and for us as developers. In the next few minutes, I will going to show you how to build a new website using Edge Delivery Services from scratch. So we start with an empty GitHub repo. We clone our boilerplate project, which is our starter. Then we do some content changes, just minor ones, setting up everything and double check everything works and we can publish our first content. And once this is done, we will jump into the local development and building our first blocks and our first components to extend our tiny little new website. If you're happy with the result, we'll push it to a branch, check if the performance of the new changes are okay, share the branch maybe with our co-workers, and once you're ready, at the end of the session, we will push our change into production for the new website. Okay, so let's get started and get our hands dirty with some development. For that, let me switch to my browser. And in the browser, I will start with the development tutorial website, which you might seen before. To get started with the project. The first step we have to do is we go into the boilerplate project, which is the starting point each and every website we want to build. This is the boilerplate project, which is a project which is maintained by Adobe and which we give to all of our customers as a reference and a starter template. The website we are going to build, actually we can preview it already if you check out the link here. I'll quickly show us. This is sort of the website we are going to build. With a few enhancements which are not on it yet at the moment. So let's get started. Let's close this one. And the first step we need to do is to clone this project using the template into our own new repository. I will create one in my own GitHub org, on a real project. This would be obviously the enterprise org of your project or of a company. I'm going with AEM demo for this presentation. Let's click the quiz button. GitHub will do its job and create a new project. The next step we need to do is we actually tell the Azure services this is a project we want to connect with it. So we need to create a connection between this GitHub repo, which at the moment is just a GitHub repo like any other on this planet. And we need to tell the Adobe stack, hey, this is a project which is now bound to the Adobe Experience Edge Delivery Services. This happens via a GitHub application, which is provided by Adobe. I opened it already here, which we just need to configure once. So this is a one-time task, do it each and every project. You configure the application, select the method. I need to quickly log into my GitHub account here. Okay. And give the permissions for the application to our new created repo. This should be this one, AEM demo. Save it. And with that, the application is set up. can actually close this. We don't need this anymore. And once it's set up, we actually should be able to already see the content of our website and to preview what we have actually created. So let's check this out. And here we go. You see, this is the same website as we have seen before when I showed you the boilerplate code, obviously, because we didn't do any content changes. And by default, if you clone the boilerplate project, it's also connected with our dummy and demo sample content. That's why the content is actually the same. But in the URL, you can already see this is actually my project. So you see the temporary URL you get for the project. It's main, which is referring to our branch name, AEM demo, which is referring to the GitHub repo, and mhack, which is referring to the GitHub organization. You can also see this if you look carefully at the README of the project in the README. This is the way how the URL patterns work. Every branch gets its own temporary URL as long as the branch exists. And that, during development in a large team, basically gives you unlimited development environments and preview URLs because each branch automatically gets converted into its own URL. And the naming pattern is simply branch name, repo name, and then tab opening. There are actually two extensions of the URL. There's an hrx.page and an hrx.live. The .page is what we call the preview URL. And the live, as the name said, is the live website URL. In a real project, you obviously will not use the live URL that often because it's ultimately connected to the real domain of the website, which is served to your end users. Let's go quickly back to the content because we don't want to play with the demo content and we want to have our real own content. For that, I set up a Google Drive share. I'm using Google Drive in this project. It could be SharePoint as well. Doesn't really matter. It's just with preference of the organization or the team you're working with. And in this Google Share, I have one folder which has only 3 documents at the moment, which is the header and footer, which are fragments which are shared across the entire site, and an index document. You can guess by the name, the index document is representing our whole page. Let's quickly check out the document. The content is at the moment mostly the same like you have seen in the dummy content version. The only thing I changed so far is I added a little bit text here to welcome you guys for the presentation and to Developers Live conference. So how can we actually now work with our own content? Let me quickly go back here. And it's pretty simple because the connection is simply made by the root folder of the project. Let me quickly copy the URL of the root folder. Going now to the project. And there's one very important file which you mostly touch only once in the lifetime of the project. In most cases, which is the fstab.yaml file. And I'm now going to directly check this in the browser. Later we will work on locally. And this is have one very important information, which is a button mount point. And that basically tells the project, okay, this Google Drive or this SharePoint folder has the root folder of my content for the entire website I'm going to build. I'm replacing this with my own website folder. Commit the change quickly. And I'm now being lazy. I directly commit to the main branch, obviously nothing you should do in a real project. Since it's a demo, we can quickly do this. And going back here, the file is updated. If we now go to our website, our own URL, and if we just read the page, already should see the new and updated content. Pretty simple. And actually already 10 minutes later, we are almost done with our first website. Obviously, not really. We want to do a little bit more than just collecting some dummy content. So let's first do some real content changes. As you have seen in the previous talk, for this, we have a little helper for our boss, which is the AIM sidekick. The AIM sidekick is also linked to the tutorial. You find this on the Chrome Web Store. It's also available for Safari and other major browsers. I pre-installed this on my local machine here before this session, so I don't need to restart my browser doing the demo. But in the first, also again, a one-time thing, you install it once. And once it's installed, you can use it for many projects. So let's go close this thing here. You find the link, by the way, in the tutorial as well. Go back to our GitHub project and to connect the sidekick with the project. It's pretty simple. It's the icon here in the browser. can right click and it automatically detects, hey, this is a project which looks like a project which is a valid Edge delivery service project. So I can connect this and add this to my local operation. I'm going to add this project here. And once it's added, I can go back to my browser in the Word document or in the Google document. And I can open this icon here as a tiny little bar. But it did not work. Let's add it again. Sure. Now it works. So we have now the sidekick bar with all the buttons depending on where you are to work with. Okay. Let's then go and do a few changes. Maybe we just simply replace a few images here. We upload a new image for this one and then upload a new image for this one as well. Just to make some changes which are really visible for you and can be easily seen. And then once we're done with the content changes, we can review it and we click preview. And the content basically gets published to the preview URL of our website, which you can see here. Pretty easy. We have the two images replaced. Is it all? No, we want to do more. I told you we want to do local development and build actually some real functions and features for the website. And for that, I prepared a little bit more content. And let me quickly drag a new folder here. So let's say our website should get a blog. And we want to add a few blog posts to our website. So I quickly uploaded this folder, which has one is still uploading, now it's 3 blog posts for some sport activities and some kind of promotion things. Pretty simple content or typical blog post. It has a hero image. It has main title, subheadlines and text. And then we have some interesting thing here. There's a blog code or a testimonial from some post creator in this case. And this is something we didn't see before. And the pages we had before didn't have this. Interesting. How does it actually look like? So let's preview this page as well. And if you preview this page, we will see, okay, this is the blog post. And if you scroll down a little bit here, we see that this is actually not really styled. It doesn't look like a nice quote or testimonial. So let's give this a little bit, let's polish this a little bit and build an actual real component for our new project and give this a little bit of styling and make this a little bit more pretty. Okay, let's get started. For this, we actually now going into local development mode and build our blog code functions. I'm going back to my GitHub repo. Since I'm lazy, I'm just copying commands from here. And now we switch to my IDE. I have an empty folder here and I just clone the newly created repo. It's very thin, so that takes up that much. Let's go to the folder. And first, let's start our development environment. I'm going to use Visual Studio Code for this. And let me close this one. And first step, let me quickly explain you a little bit about the project and the structure of the project. It's very thin, very lightweight, because we made the experience that many projects actually want to start with a more thin project and add stuff as you go instead of starting with a big project template and first starting moving things. So it's the simplest stuff you find in other JavaScript as well. The FS tab we have already seen. We have our head.html where you can have customizations to the HTML head of each page. We have a 404 static side, and then we have a bunch of folders. And these are the ones which are mostly important for your project. So let's go through them quickly from top to bottom. The first folder is the blocks folder. And the blocks folder has all the elements for your website blocks or components in the speech. Each block is pretty simple, and by default, it only has one JavaScript file and one CSS file. Depending obviously on the complexity and the task and use case you want to build, this can be split into multiple based on your needs. But in the very first step, we recommend just go with the simpler version. And in many cases, you don't even need that much external boilerplate, especially JavaScript. So if you check out this card block, which just shows these elements here, which is rendering a list of cards on a page. Uh, Pretty standard. If you go back to the code, this is actually it. It is not even 20 line of JavaScript and a bunch of CSS. And we have all the blocks, you will find them. You don't even need any JavaScript. And this would be the best case. And this is what you are aiming for. And only style the blocks with the CSS styling, which you're going to need. But at the end, this really depends on the use case you're going to build out. So let's go close the blocks. The other few folders, and so fonts is where your custom web fonts are going to. Icons is where you put your images and global icons, LVG files, etc. you want to use for the project. Then comes to go to the more interesting one. There's scripts. Scripts, that's the folder which contains all the global project-wide JavaScript. And there is, that you can see, not many of them. It's actually just three. There's the EM JavaScript, which is sort of the toolkit and library you get from Adobe. In most projects, or the recommendation definitely is, in most projects, you don't touch this file at all. You get this from the EM from Adobe. Adobe is also maintaining it and keeping it up to date. And if you do changes, then you need to make sure you keep it instant later. If you don't touch it, then it's definitely easier for you as in the project to work with it. Then there's the script shares. This is your main project JavaScript file where you put all the global JavaScript you will work with in the project. And then there's the late JavaScript. I don't go into detail. This is something you find in documentation, how the project framework or toolkit is actually working. And we have the option to actually delay some loading of some functionality, which you don't need for the initial rendering and which you don't need for the initial last large contentful paint of the website, like tracking, pixels, tag managers, these kind of stuff you can load here. Last but not least, style CSS, and you can almost guess by the names. Font CSS is where your custom web fonts are loaded. Lazy, similar to the delayed, is where you kind of add global styles which are used across this entire site, which are, again, not relevant for the large content paint and can be loaded later in the rendering phase. And the style CSS is the global CSS, which is all your variables, the styles for all the major HTML text, etc. These are the elements of the project, and that's basically, as we discussed before by the colleagues, there's no extra fancy build step needed. There's no fancy dependencies. It's really plain JavaScript and CSS. So then let's run it locally and do some coding. The first thing we do, we start our development environment, which you can start with EM app, which is running a simulator, and that's already connected to your project. So it proxies the content from the Edge delivery cloud infrastructure to your local development and replaces the cloud code with the local code you have in your checkout branch. So let's build out the block code element for the website. For this one first, copy this quickly to go to the same page we have here. And this is now the area we want to build out. For this one, let's switch back to my IDE and to the CLI, because this actually gives me some nice indication. If you closely look at the log of the local development environment, you see actually we get 2 errors or warnings that some JavaScript and CSS is missing, which is exactly JavaScript and CSS which you obviously want to build. So let me quickly be lazy again, copy this here, going back to the IDE in my blog folders and quickly create these 2 files. I missed the S, adding the JavaScript as well. I will quickly rename this and give it correct name. I mess this up. This should go into block code. This is not needed. And this one should be CSS. It's too quick. Okay. Added these. If the page automatically reloads, we have hot reloading like any other tools as well. but obviously nothing changed. But the good thing is the warning is gone and there's no new warning because the files are now there. So first thing, let's add some background color, maybe put this new block and block quote as the name says. And then we do background color and let's use one of the variables we have created already. In this style, we have a variable called overlay background color. So I can use this and reload. Here we go. It has some nice background color. So how does it actually work and how does the things come together? For this, let's have a look quickly at the source code of our website. And to make this a bigger. This is the HTML which you get delivered by the cloud infrastructure from Adobe. As I said, the local CLI will just proxy it. And as you can see, it's pretty slim. There are no nested deep div structures like you see sometimes on other pages. It's very flat structured. And see, it starts by the main div. I will skip the header and the footer for now. And starts with the main div. And the main div is basically the main element has a div element. And this first div here is what we call a section. If you look carefully, the div is closing here and there starts a new one. So we have 2 sections on this page. And inside each section, we can have as many content elements, simple content, what we call default content, or block elements if you like. So the sections are used to sort of organize content on the website in what way the author wants to have them organized. Typically, if you have an area on the website which maybe has a different background or which gets some other things which are different compared to the previous area, you should work with different sections. And inside these sections, we have basic elements like images, different heading text, like you can see here, normal text, and then we have another div. And the div is basically telling the toolkit and the framework, okay, this is actually a block. You can identify blocks by divs which have a class name, and this class name is exactly mapping to what we have in the Word document. If you go quickly back to our document itself, you see here we have, and the blue color is just for highlighting it, that you can easier see it. The first row of each table, which we are using to identify a block, everything below the first row, it can be multiple rows here, it can be multiple colors, it doesn't matter, considered as block content. But the first row is handled special and is used to identify the block name by itself. Additionally, you can put extra informations like doing, let's say, full width or similar. You can give extra informations in brackets, which we call block options. And these help the developer to build out multiple versions of the same block, which have slightly different behavior depending on how they are used or where they are used. With this, you can give the author more flexibility to provide extra information and sort of extra options and variants of the block which can be used. But let's go back to the code and actually build a little bit more and make it a little bit more fancy. So we have the background prepared by 2 other style classes, not that many, just to give it a little bit more, make it a little bit more colorful. We're adding some green color for the code itself and some light gray color for the speaker or for the person who actually said this. This is how it looks now. Pretty okay-ish for first website and for the first time. Then I would say, let's make this ready for shipping and send this to our colleagues for review. I've quite a bunch. Actually, we should do this maybe next time at the beginning. Let's call it code. And commit our changes. Here we go. And we can push the bunch. Once we push the bunch, let's immediately create a pull request. And the nice thing about Edge Delivery Services and the developer integration with GitHub and the GitHub application is that we can now immediately test our new pull request and the new branch we just created. So let's maybe remove this. I have no uh, GitHub issue at the moment. So let's use this one. And the way how this works is you just enter two URLs here. Can be more if you want to test and test, provide more tests, give you URLs. But the pretty simple one is we have a before version, which is actually one you've seen, and we have an after version, which is referenced by our new branch. And again, remember the naming pattern. It's branch name, repo name, org name. And with that, we use a code as the branch is named code as a new URL for our testing. And if this one, actually this URL is already available, we don't need to create the pull request, but in the pull request, you can reference it here because this is then used by our GitHub bot you have seen before to actually run some tests and do performance checks. And this happens automatically. You can see the performance check and the lint and test tools are already triggered by the GitHub actions. So let's wait for them. While we're waiting, we can maybe preview it. And you can see here, this is our still our branch with the test website from our blog post with the new style code element. I can pass this around to our coworkers. This is not published yet. This is not live. So it's pretty safe. It's not picked up by Google or anything. It's pretty safe to share this URL around, get reviews, get the approval from your business stakeholders. And once you are happy with the result, maybe after get some reviews from your colleagues and having all checks passed in GitHub, you can actually go there, double check the performance. So the performance score looks pretty good. We are at 100 Lighthouse score. This is what we want. If you click here, the tiling icon, you can also go to PageSpeed directly, which runs the analysis for you and gives you more or less the similar results, just with more details. But let's go back here. Let's see our lint checks are still running. So give them a few more seconds to check the code. And this should be done pretty quickly. It should take maybe 30 seconds, a little bit more, depending on how quick the GitHub action is running. Sure why it's taking longer. Maybe GitHub is slow today while in the actions, but let me go back here. We can check this one. This one doesn't work quite well for whatever reason. There's some delay here. So something you maybe need to investigate. Could be a hiccup. Sometimes a little bit shaky, but if we go back here, we see actually the result was 100. Okay, not sure why it's taking that long. I still can merge it because I have no setup, no branch protection. It's just a demo. I can still merge it up now. What I'm going to do as well. So we merge the pull request, and with merging the pull request, we are basically shipping our new change, our new feature into production. So let's confirm the merge. And once the merge is done, we can quickly go here because here we have our main project URL as well. And if we load this URL, we are on the main branch. You can see the change of the newly built website. So switching back to my slides, this was all done with the live coding. Back to my slides. There's actually one more to wrap up the session. And this is the one you have seen before. So thank you very much for joining the quick intro live coding session, how you can build your website that fast. In half an hour, we built the first website with our own content, with our own first custom blog developed. And if you want to learn more, feel free to join the Discord community and get in contact with our developers and other people working on AM. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Marcus. We are right at time, but I do have one question for you. And that is, how are you managing environments? Can you have multiple ones, or does it mean that I have to pre-author content in the same production documents?
You have, from the development perspective, you can have as many branches as you need. There's no environment in the sense of a classic deployed server environment. It's just one cloud infrastructure which provides everything for you. And that gives you the branches for the developers. From the content perspective, there are two states of the content, which is the preview content and which is the light content. And your authors can keep this documents into preview as long as they want, and the developers can work with the preview version. So there's no real need for managing multiple environments like we have in classical deployments. I hope that answers the question.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I think the team answered the other questions in the chat. And you can find them in the contextual thread if you're listening to this other recording. So thank you very much, Marcus.
Thank you.